As indeed it was with the super nerd.
Thank you. Felt very sharp today, Darren, and basically when I knocked out your team, that was it.
Thanks so much for your company. Catch you next time on Taste Australia.
Tonight in 7 News, an extraordinary plea over the murder of a boy, a family's stunning message of forgiveness to his killers, and a call to end the violence that took his life. New coronavirus testing puts our health authorities on alert.
A day like today can make me nervous.
Victorians blocked at the South Australian border as premiers take a swipe. A dumped minister tells why she had to go as Labor faces a searing review by an ex-premier. The rogue Porsche driver at the centre of a police tragedy hit with shock new charges. And thieves targeting puppies worth thousands with a pandemic surge in demand for dogs.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. The grieving parents of a murdered schoolboy have issued an extraordinary message of love to the teenagers accused of killing him. The 15-year-old was stabbed to death at a shopping centre as he tried to protect his mates.
Consumed with grief, a father collapses just metres from where his 15-year-old son was stabbed to death. His wife by his side, they left flowers nearby to honour their boy, Solomon Taufilonaki. The Year 10 student was attacked by a group of up to 10 boys late yesterday and left to die in a Deer Park car park.
Maybe his father in heaven need my son to come back.
We don't want any justice. We want our son back home.
What do you feel then for those boys that did this to Solo?
We love them. We don't know them, but we love them.
We love them. We don't know who's their family, but we love them.
7 News has been told it started as a standoff between local boys and members of youth gangs. It escalated when Solomon tried to protect his friends. Hours after the murder, more violence as furious mourners stormed through police tape to confront others. About 30 involved in that brawl. As police tried to stop them, one officer was injured and taken to hospital. Videos circulating today thought to show threats before the fatal fight.
I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to stab this pussy up.
And more violence at the Brimbank shopping centre leading up to the stabbing.
This generation, everything's just about fighting, killing and stuff.
At Solomon's school today, police were on patrol as students and parents arrived.
Oh, he's a lovely boy. He's from a really lovely family. He's soft, he's gentle.
Senseless act. Yeah, I don't think anyone can kind of comprehend the magnitude of what's happened.
Today, friends and family left flowers, pausing, remembering, comforting each other, searching for answers, as homicide detectives led a search for evidence near the murder scene.
I just knew that he has a bright future ahead of him, and every day I would see him, he's always smiling.
Devout Mormons, the family's faith gives them comfort. It happened over the road from a place they know well.
That's my chapel, my church. Every Sunday, my son come to this church.
6 boys aged between just 13 and 16 have been charged with violent disorder and affray. That's over the fight that led up to this awful outcome, but so far no one has been charged with murder. And amid so much love here for Solomon, with so many friends and family remaining here tonight, we understand that there has been multiple threats online posted, promises of revenge and violence, and understandably, Mitch, given that, police are maintaining a big presence in this area tonight.
Paul Dowsley at Deer Park, thank you. Victoria is dealing with a sharp spike in the number of coronavirus cases that has our Chief Health Officer worried. The 21 new cases represent the biggest overnight jump we've seen for a month, and that's feeding concerns of a second wave.
More businesses closed for cleaning on a day our case numbers opened up.
A day like today can make me nervous.
21 new cases, 15 are returned travellers, 6 show community transmission. We haven't had a day like this for more than a month. From Sunbury in the northwest, where a vet has been closed, through Gladstone Park, an early learning centre shut down after a staff member tested positive. So too a security guard at the Stamford Plaza Hotel, which is being used for quarantine. And in Carnegie, a resident at aged care centre Rosstown Community also has the virus. The centre now in lockdown.
It won't be a date when we say, right, everyone can return to work. It'll be a stepwise process.
Brett Sutton says some of the returned travellers are not Victorian residents. Instead, they live interstate but flew back to Australia via Melbourne. Despite their home address, they add to our daily case numbers.
I think the numbers in hotel quarantine are really a reflection of what's happening globally. There are simply more cases across Asia, more cases across South and North America.
A second wave is hitting Beijing, 27 new cases in a day. Residential areas near a market are in lockdown. Travel out of the Chinese capital that isn't essential is being discouraged. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
South Australia's borders are now open again, but Victorians are banned, and that's pitched state against state. Nick McCallum is on the border tonight, and Nick, you've been turned away.
Peter, South Australian police have set up this checkpoint on the border, which is about a 5-hour drive from Melbourne. Now, there are exemptions, but most people who arrive here receive an interview from police and are warned. If you go any further, you must go into self-isolation in South Australia for 2 weeks before you do anything. And if you don't, you face a hefty fine. Not very friendly, really. But that has now cranked up the old rivalry between Victoria and South Australia and fired up the two premiers. Arriving at the South Australian border checkpoint, we Victorians are persona non grata. I gather, as a Victorian, we've got to turn around from now?
You do, unless you're planning to self-isolate in Adelaide for 14 days.
14 days? South Australia reopened its borders to selected states today, but not to us.
I don't want to be offensive to South Australians, but why would you want to go there? Why would you want to go there?
The Adelaide Advertiser raged. A scandal-ridden premier of a virus-plagued state sledges SA.
I think it would seem very much that Dan Andrews has got his hands full at the moment and a bit of a cheap shot to create a political diversion.
But for the nearest Victorian town to the border, Caniva, the closure is no laughing matter. A party here for Lynn Powell's 50th anniversary postponed because most of her family lives across the border.
4 daughters and 18 grandchildren.
And they can't come.
They can't come.
This is the only footy Jason Gordon's Caniva Cougars will get. Their season cancelled.
The problem with our team is that half of our players live on the other side of the border.
And with his toes on the border, Caniva's mayor says it's all so pointless.
It's very difficult for locals, and look, we can't see the sense of it because there's no COVID around here.
There are exemptions for those with medical appointments and essential workers, but not for us.
My suggestion perhaps is go back to Victoria.
Where we belong.
I didn't say that.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
And Australians can forget travelling overseas until next year. The federal government warning the coronavirus risk remains too high in many countries. But a campaign has now been launched urging us all to holiday here instead.
Urging Australians to buy Australian and fly Australian to try an Australian holiday.
For those Australians who can afford to do so, we want them to feel an almost patriotic duty.
With international travel not expected to resume until next year,
I think that is more likely the case.
Domestic tourism will be vital in reviving the aviation and hospitality sectors.
Open tourist-related travel in or out of Australia, that remains quite some distance off.
Including from China, which is warning its citizens against visiting Australia. Typical, the Foreign Minister says, of an infodemic of fake news emanating from Beijing and elsewhere that she says could kill.
Let's be clear, disinformation during a pandemic will cost lives.
Accusing China of cultivating a climate of fear and division, flooding social media with propaganda to undermine democracies like ours. As formal discussions begin on a new free trade deal with an old ally. the UK.
Brexit now presents new opportunities for our two nations.
Scott Morrison, looking for an exit, asked why so many women are having babies while being transported to Canberra from Yass, which doesn't have a maternity ward.
That's why we've committed $150 million to upgrade the Barton Highway, which includes
giving birth,
which includes
to much mirth. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Fans will be allowed back to the footy in Queensland this weekend. 2,000 will be let into the Gabba on Saturday for the Lions-Eagles clash, and another 2,000 for the Crows-Gold Coast game at Metricon on Sunday. Gold Coast theme parks will also start reopening next week, but only for locals, with the border still shut. One of the 3 ministers who lost their jobs in the branch stacking crisis has vowed to clear her name. Labor in Victoria is now officially being run by the Federal Party, with the former Premier, who's now in charge, saying he's gobsmacked by the scale of the scandal.
For years he's been out of the political swamp, but now Steve Bracks is back in the thickest of mud. ALP factional warfare.
Of course it's a painful process, but painful but necessary.
A former mentor of Daniel Andrews, Mr Bracks and the former Federal Minister Jenny Macklin will conduct a full review of Victorian Labor, making sure every member is legitimate. It comes after revelations of widespread branch stacking conducted by now sacked Minister Adam Somyurek.
To see the extent of this, I think was truly remarkable and quite gobsmacking, really.
2 other ministers also embroiled in the scandal have now resigned, Robin Scott and Marlene Carews. Today, the former Consumer Affairs Minister spoke publicly for the first time.
I didn't want to be a distraction for the government. You're aware that there's an investigation and I don't want to provide any commentary until that investigation's over, but I certainly look forward to clearing my name.
The Premier's now asked the ALP National Executive to take control of the state branch for the first time since 1970, stripping votes from rank and file members for 3 years.
We're not mucking around with this. We are going to clean this up.
But today, new accusations that grants were given to charities with links to branch stackers.
Will the Premier guarantee to Victorians that not one single dollar of those grants was used to fund Labor Party branch stacking?
Grants are administered and made based on advice from independent public servants.
The Bracks and Macklin review is due in November. The Premier with this message for rank and file members.
I thank you for your work, I apologise for your pain, and I'm going to make sure that your voice is louder than it has ever been.
Just not until 2023. Look, this has been a torrid week for Daniel Andrews, but in the longer term, he may actually emerge more powerful, because by getting the National Executive to take control of the state branch and removing those voting rights for local members, he is in many ways stripping much of the power of the factional leaders and his rivals here in Victoria. But this review he's commissioned may yet backfire if it finds evidence that more ministers or staffers have broken the rules. Mitch?
Laurel Irving at State Parliament, thank you. Rogue Porsche driver Richard Pusey has been slapped with more charges. In a surprise twist, the man involved in the Eastern Freeway crash that killed 4 police could be the first person to face the new law.
When he allegedly filmed the bodies of police officers, there was outrage, but it wasn't considered a crime until today.
In a case like this, one's not surprised by the fact that police are looking at every reasonable charge to make sure that the accused is facing all possible consequences.
Pusey already faces 12 charges. Today he was hit with 2 more. One is the little-known offence of committing an act outraging public decency.
Someone has reviewed all of the alleged offending and has considered that the outrage occasioned, as it's said to be, by the behaviour in filming dead police requires some additional charges.
The law was created in 2016 and accuses Pusey of arousing anger, resentment and outrage. It holds a maximum of 2 years jail. Legal experts have told 7 News this charge is a real surprise. They say it could be the first time anyone in Victoria has faced the offence.
It's not a usual charge, and in that sense I'll be interested to see what the details are, because at the moment at least we are guessing as to how it's being put.
Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Actor Ernie Dingo has been involved in a scuffle over a racist slur. The 63-year-old said he was at Perth railway station this morning when a man insulted him. Dingo assaulted the man over the head, saying he won't tolerate such abuse. Employers who rip off their workers can now be jailed or slapped with massive fines. Victoria has become the first state to make wage theft illegal. Individuals who deliberately underpay employees risk a $10,000 fine. Companies will have to pay almost $1 million and bosses could be jailed for 10 years. 4 stolen puppies are back home safe and sound tonight. They're worth thousands of dollars each and are the latest victims in a robbery surge targeting pets.
The puppies are small, but they're worth thousands. 4 were stolen from their Thomastown backyard, only to be dumped around the corner 14 hours later.
We received a 000 phone call from a lady walking her child to school and found the 4 puppies in a front yard that appeared to be left there.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
The thief could only carry 4 of the 5 purebred German Shepherds, so one was left behind.
Meeting his brothers and sisters again? Yeah. You miss them? Someone was knocking on the door asking if the neighbour's home. He made his way through the neighbours, jumped over our fence.
A plan to steal the 6-week-old pups that were already microchipped. The RSPCA says pets have been in demand during the COVID-19 lockdown. Some German Shepherd puppies can sell for up to $5,000 each, so the police are investigating if the thief was a potential customer looking to on-sell them.
Probably been a bit overwhelmed with the response, and maybe that's what's led them to leave the puppies at this address.
When they called me, I couldn't be any more happy than that.
Nor could Mum Milo, also happy to have her litter home.
I love my puppies.
Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
Beautiful dogs. There's a big footy story developing tonight. Tim Watson, the AFL's best player, is out injured.
Mitch, the teams for tomorrow night's Richmond Hawthorn showdown are in. Chief Football Reporter Mark Stevens has the team sheets, and Steve-O, no Dustin Martin.
That's right, Tim. Massive news. Dustin Martin will miss this week's game against the Hawks tomorrow night. I've just spoken to the Tigers. They say it's rib bruising. They say it's reasonably minor, but he won't be risked against the Hawks. So Dusty is out. Josh Caddy comes in for the Tigers. Jager O'Meara in for Hawthorn. But of course, the big news, Dusty misses this week, Tim.
Thanks, Steve-O. Also coming up, a Star Demon and Big Name Blue cop a spray from across the border. Plus, Chris Scott admits he got it wrong with Gary Ablett, and Mitch Moorhead's role at Cricket Australia today as well. All that and more coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Tim. We'll see you then. Ahead, priests on JobKeeper, why empty collection plates have forced the church to pass around the begging bowl. Also, police under attack, punched, choked, spat on and fighting back. The real-life Spider-Man trying to escape from police. And how an arthritis drug is now helping save the lives of coronavirus patients.
Southern News, brought to you by Industry Superfunds.
I suddenly realized we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
When she walked into the house, she said,
"It's my house now."
Now, her dream has come true.
Yes, yes.
For the first time, Big Brother isn't the only one watching them. She'll control what they do.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
None of them will be ready for her plot twist.
Wow, you have no idea what's coming.
The Big Brother Takeover, Sunday 7 o'clock on 7.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
You bought a Jeep.
Yeah, I bought a Jeep.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yep. And if we need anything else, Jeep has adjusted the price of over 17,000 parts to reduce running costs. So, you ready to go boat shopping?
I'm in.
Oh, baby, baby, feed me. Baby, feed me. Oh, feed me.
Time powerless to resist.
Beast inside you.
Have a peek at this. Powerball has jackpotted to $15 million. Better get a ticket.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Bob Jane T-Mart, big brands, bigger deals. Save 25% on Bridgestone passenger and SUV tyres. 25% off all J-Trax 4x4 SUV and Nitto 4x4 tyres.
It's LDV for me.
It's LDV for me.
More and more people are saying it's LDV for me because the LDV T60 4x4 diesel is from just $27,490 drive away. And eligible businesses may be able to claim the government instant asset write-off. Hurry, offer ends June 30.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
An unholy row has erupted over claims the Catholic Church is urging priests on the JobKeeper allowance to donate part of their extra money to the church. Priests are poorly paid, but their employer is one of the world's wealthiest institutions.
Mass today at St Patrick's Cathedral under COVID conditions. Not just social distancing, but no collection plate. And that's had Catholics wanting help.
Do we really need saving?
With churches empty and donations down, Archbishop Anthony Fisher confirmed the Catholic Church, like other faiths, had asked for JobKeeper payments to cover priests' weekly $400 stipends. Nothing wrong with that, parishioners said today.
They're human beings. They need to eat. They have their daily expenses. They should get it.
Yep.
They should get it.
But also today claims that as the government gave priests the $1,500 JobKeeper allowance, the Parramatta Diocese wanted half back for itself. The Church denies that, saying it only suggested priests make a voluntary contribution to the Clergy Support Fund. But abuse victim groups are outraged.
This would be a time for the Church to donate this to victims of Catholic clergy.
The federal and state leaders see no problem.
The issue lit up social media today, with many suggesting the church should fund itself by selling an asset, a cathedral, artworks, the Vatican itself. A senior church official said that was simply plain ignorant.
There's no denying it is one of the world's wealthiest institutions, with vast rental and property assets, but no one from the church would go on camera today a vow of silence. Chris Reason, 7 News.
There's been a confronting insight into the dangers police put themselves in every day. A man resisting arrest lashed out at 2 officers in New South Wales. He choked the female member and ripped hair from her scalp before attacking her male colleague.
No. Last time I moved, you said you couldn't breathe, and then you grabbed my partner by the hair and wouldn't let go.
The 35-year-old has been charged and the 2 officers taken to hospital with minor injuries. A driver wanted over a high-speed chase tried to escape police officers by climbing the side of a building. The 29-year-old scrambled down the 3-storey apartment block before walking along the roof. The would-be Spider-Man leapt onto a car before being arrested. A drug that costs less than $10 has been proven as a way to save COVID patients. Scientists are stunned at the steroid's success, as Prince Charles reveals he's still suffering the effects of the virus weeks after being given the all-clear.
This was a return to personal engagements for Prince Charles, albeit at a carefully choreographed distance.
I was just thinking we should tell them to fall out shortly. 2 ranks.
Meeting hospital staff, the heir to the throne revealed he lost his sense of smell and taste with COVID-19 and 3 months on is still feeling its effects, but was lucky compared to so many victims treated by these workers.
Literally on the front line and having to endure an awful lot of stress and strain.
To help doctors help patients, a new drug, the first tested scientifically, is tonight treating patients in intensive care. It's called dexamethasone, normally used to treat arthritis. It's cheap and easy to access globally. British scientists have proven it helps fight coronavirus.
Our jaws dropped when we saw the result. It's really a big result.
The risk of death for patients on oxygen was cut from 25% to 20%. Patients on ventilators had the best results, slashing their risk of dying from 41% to 28%.
This is the first medicine that's been shown to reduce death in any group with COVID.
But the magic pill isn't a cure, so crowds won't be rushing back to events across Europe. In London, Sarah Greenolch, 7 News.
Back home, and Melina Saris joins us now. Melina, we've had a few mild nights, but the frost is returning.
Mitch, that's what we get with clear skies. The nights turn cold, but the days are lovely and sunny. The city dropped to a mild 10 degrees overnight, but only climbed slightly to 14 this afternoon. Some areas started the day with morning fog patches, but then we had a mix of sun and cloud, and when that sun was out, it felt really nice out there thanks to just light winds. Most areas recorded a sprinkle of rain overnight, but today was dry and partly cloudy. It was 14 in Geelong, Essendon and Watsonia, 12 degrees there at Cranbourne. A high-pressure system will bring a frosty morning tomorrow, but a clear and sunny day. We are keeping our eye on this cold front, though, which will arrive later on Friday. I'll have the forecast after sport. Mitch.
Thanks, Melina. Ahead, there's a push to change the name of our state. Why we're being told Victoria is no longer politically correct. Also, shark fears after a popular pier becomes a chicken carcass dumping ground. Gang warfare out of control, France engulfed by violence. And a real game changer for children with ADHD, the world's first prescription video game. How it's helping young minds.
Unbeaten for 52 weeks and 14 matches in a row.
It's Tiger time!
But after one close call,
it's a draw!
Is their number finally up? Will the Tigers slip up?
Look out!
When the Hawks know that an upset is on the cards. Then Friday, the most heated rivalry. The most controversial player.
Real dangerous.
When the Giants take on the Bulldogs, all hell will break loose. 2 blockbuster clashes start with Thursday Night Footy. Go to the footy on 7.
Hi, I'm Colin Fasnich. Noel, Lily and Maeve today is back at school, but today we're cooking very inexpensive ingredient, chicken legs. So this is going to cost under $5 a portion. We're going to bake the chicken legs on top of root vegetables and potatoes filled with herbs and cheese. And you know what? This is going to be one of the best family favourites you're going to cook. So what you can do a few hours before is your chicken legs, you marinate them. You can do this even the night before. Our garlic, our paprika, our herbs, just mush them up so you can smell them. So you can do this the night before, day before, hour before, just let it marinate. A little bit of olive oil, and that goes in the fridge. To make the tray bake, it's basically layered flavours and textures, full of flavour. So let's go. We've got our potato, onion, garlic, carrot. So it's all roughly the same size. That goes into the bowl. Sweet potato. Into the bowl. A pinch of salt. We add some pepper. So you can use your dry mixed herbs or fresh, just rip them, stalks and everything. So all this is going to add flavour as it cooks nice and slow. Then we're going to add a little splash of olive oil, helps marry it all together. Secret ingredient, this is an old piece of Parmesan. Everyone's got an old piece of Parmesan or cheese in the fridge, you can use cheddar. So this Parmesan will melt into the vegetable bake. Keep a little bit of Parmesan for on top. So now you're just going to mix all this with your hands, get in there, and then it goes into your tray. So now what you're going to do is you're going to add your chicken stock. So what the chicken stock does is it steams the vegetable as it cooks. I'm just going to add another little bit of Parmesan, because this will caramelise on top and give you a beautiful crust. Secret to the dish is you put your chicken legs on top and the juice soaks into the actual bake, and it's one of the best bakes you're going to have. So that goes in the oven for 35 minutes at 200 degrees until the chicken's cooked. What you do then is you take the chicken off, because the bake might take a little bit more cooking, put the vegetables back in for another 10 to 15 minutes, let it crisp and caramelise, serve with the chicken. So finish it off with our leftover Parmesan. Look at that. That is my roast chicken leg and vegetable bake for under $5 a portion. Feed the family, packed full of flavour.
The push to rename anything with a whiff of controversy in the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests has reached a new level. A former Greens MP is suggesting the name of our entire state be changed, but the idea hasn't received overwhelming support.
It's from Queen Victoria our great state got its name. But centuries on, our muse would not be amused to hear there are some who think the name no longer fits.
This country is going through a bit of an identity crisis right now, and that to get through it, we need truth-telling.
Indigenous activist Lydia Thorpe says in revering colonial figures, we're only telling one side of our nation's story.
It's not telling the whole truth about the invasion, the colonisation of this country, how things were named, what happened to the Aboriginal people as a result of people getting land.
She wants the name put back on the table during treaty talks with the state government.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I thought I'd heard every stupid idea under the sun after 14 years in this place, but that takes the cake.
The push to better recognise Indigenous Australians has also made its way to AFL House. St Kilda great Nicky Winmar is calling for an Aboriginal flag to be hung from the front doors. He also wants banners calling for an end to racism at every ground, 27 years after he made his iconic stance. Jodie Lee, 7 News.
The attention on the famous spider crabs at Rye Pier has turned the seafloor into a chicken cemetery. Dozens of carcasses, which are used by fishermen to lure the crabs into pots, have been dumped. That's led to an increase in shark sightings. The pier's been crowded after the spider crabs featured on David Attenborough's Blue Planet documentary. Violence has erupted across France as police struggle to separate protesters. Tear gas was used at a demonstration in Paris, while in the city of Dijon, a terrifying gang war has taken hold.
A situation out of control. Chants of Allahu Akbar as warring gangs terrorise parts of Dijon. The violence has been steadily building since the weekend after the alleged assault of a 16-year-old Chechen drug dealer. Mobs of masked criminals swarming the streets, heavily armed and angry. Cars and property quickly became a target set alight across the neighbourhood. Specialist police reinforcements have now been sent in to restore order. At the same time in Paris, a health worker protest turned violent. Doctors and nurses were marching for better pay and working conditions when officials say a group of anarchist agitators took over. One woman was caught in the crossfire. Police became her shield as a barrage of projectiles rained down. 19 officers were injured and more than 30 people arrested. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
There's new hope for parents of children living with ADHD. A video game is being hailed as a drug-free alternative for treating the condition.
It looks like just another video game, but according to America's Food and Drug Administration, what you're watching is an important treatment.
Only capture these little whippersnappers!
It's called Endeavour RX, and it can now be prescribed to American children between the ages of 8 and 12 for ADHD.
It's throwing objects at you and making you complete challenges in a very quick period of time.
It works by stimulating the part of the brain responsible for regulating attention. Trials showed an improvement, lasting up to a month after a 30-day treatment plan, a game changer for parents raising kids with ADHD.
So you see how that's moving through?
The Campbell family is just one of thousands across Australia, always on the lookout for new ways to manage the disorder.
I think if you can manage ADHD and help kids with the ADHD symptoms through a video game, I think it's absolutely brilliant.
So there's still much more work to be done, but this is an incredibly promising start. The FDA do not give its stamp of approval lightly.
Nina Stevens, 7 News.
Next, breaking news with human remains found in Melbourne's outer southeast. Also, scientists breaking major ground, developing an anti-clotting drug that could prevent stroke, organ failure and heart attack. How it works and why it's got the world's eyes on Australia is next. Nearly flattened between trucks, the incredible moment people walked away from this. And food for thought from celebrity chef Matt Preston.
Find out how you can help people in need this winter put food on their tables. More details after the break.
I'm from a showbiz family. I've been in show business for years. Can you believe what I'm about to do?
Who will dare to bear?
Can you guess who said yes to undress?
Who is it? The all-new Monty Guys and Gals, this July on 7.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
It's LDV for me.
It's LDV for me.
More and more people are saying it's LDV for me because the LDV T60 4x4 diesel is from just $27,490 drive away. And eligible businesses may be able to claim the government instant asset write-off. Hurry, offer ends June 30.
The MS Dream Home Lottery closes midnight tonight. So close. There's just hours left for your chance to be one of 2 grand prize winners. Get your tickets now.
Garnier Fructis Hair Food to nourish hungry hair. 98% natural, no parabens, with 3 ways to enjoy. As a conditioner, mask or leave-in. Fructis Hair Food by Garnier. Naturally. Hungry for more? Aloe Vera Hair Food available now.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Cobden, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
If you're worried about your actions or relationship, contact Men's Line for free confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
This end of financial year, get the Hyundai Tucson with style, impressive performance and intuitive technology. Now with a $1,000 bonus. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
Do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
7 News, back in under 30 seconds, thanks to Cisco WebEx. When the world needs to work securely, the world works on WebEx.
Give it a try.
Between wisdom and curiosity, there's a bridge. Between ideas and inspiration, trauma and treatment.
Okay, that covered more kilos.
Yeah, that's good for the baby.
Between the moments that make us who we are and keeping them safe, private and secure, there's WebEx.
To breaking news now, and human remains have been found in Melbourne's outer southeast. Blake Johnson joins us now, and Blake, police believe the person was murdered.
Peter, detectives have confirmed the victim's death was suspicious, although they're yet to reveal why. The missing persons squad was searching a semi-rural area at Listerfield this afternoon when the grisly discovery was made near Nixon Road. Police aren't saying much about the details, but they say they were there as part of an ongoing investigation and they believe the remains are linked to a current missing person case. They won't say which one, but they did reveal the discovery is not linked to two high-profile cases of missing campers Russell Hill and Carol Clay and Lakes entrance man Dale Pantic. A post-mortem investigation is now being carried out to work out how that person died. Pete?
Blake Johnson, thank you. Australian scientists are on the verge of trialling a world-first treatment that could save the lives of people suffering due to blood clots. The experimental drug has taken 2 decades to develop and is being touted as a way to help COVID-19 patients.
It is the Aussie-led medical discovery that could change the global course of COVID-19.
So we can prevent that deterioration. You turn what is a deadly disease into essentially a really bad chest infection, but one that won't kill you, one that you won't end up in intensive care on a ventilator.
Scientists at Sydney's Heart Research Institute had spent 20 years developing a clot-busting drug for stroke patients when COVID struck. While the virus is known for its respiratory symptoms, the cause of death for 3/4 of cases is blood clots.
It does a lot of things that we weren't expecting, including causing bad clotting, causing arteries and veins to block up.
Now it's viewed as a potential life-saving treatment for both the virus and millions each year who suffer a stroke. The drug has already been proven safe for human use. Now researchers want to fast-track trials in stroke and coronavirus cases. And for that, they need government approval and additional funding. Around $15 million is required to take the drug to the coronavirus hotspots of India and Brazil to prove it works.
We need to do the study in other countries which have not been so lucky as Australia.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
A driver and a passenger have narrowly survived after their car was squashed between 2 trucks. Police say the incoming truckie wasn't paying attention as the vehicles in front of him had stopped at a red light. Somehow, the 2 teachers inside the flattened car escaped with minor injuries. A Melbourne charity is joining forces with a supermarket giant and one of Australia's most famous food writers. They're teaming up to help thousands of struggling Victorians put food on the table during this pandemic.
Bulk buying for a good cause. Truckloads of fresh food heading into the homes of Victorians who need it most.
This gets picked up by community groups. Some of it gets sorted into different packs, so will be delivered to families, to single people isolating in motels.
Celebrity food writer Matt Preston leading the charge to fight COVID hunger this winter. Food rescue organisation Second Bite has teamed up with Coles, launching a national appeal to feed families affected by the pandemic. Each $2 donation from shoppers will help provide up to 10 meals.
It's been enormous. We went from sort of hundreds a week of people saying that they didn't have enough to eat to thousands.
And with local footy postponed, the Port Melbourne Colts have transformed their club rooms into a makeshift warehouse.
We're just really pleased we can help in a little way as a footy club.
This charity program has already provided enough fresh food to make 114 million individual meals. And by looking around the room, there is plenty more still to come.
It's such a huge problem. We kind of forget there are lots of people in Australia who don't get enough to eat.
The goodwill doesn't end there. Health provider Bupa is offering flu shots for the homeless who continue to brave our chilly winter. Tom Chadwick, 7 News.
Sports next with Tim Watson. And Tim, it's still hard to believe Dustin Martin out of tomorrow night's blockbuster.
That's right, Mitch. Up next, we're live to the MCG to hear from Tigers coach Damien Hardwick, plus Jeff Kennett's warning to all clubs, including his own. Also, an AFL great's brutal assessment of a Demon and Carlton recruit. The winless Dogs prepare for a giant Friday night grudge match. And more heads roll as Cricket Australia reveals its grand plan.
We love being surprised. We love acts we've never seen before. Without people like you, we have no show.
This is what I want to see when I watch America's Got Talent.
We weren't expecting that.
Does your mother know you do this?
Gotta blow us away.
It's awesome on steroids.
You blew the roof.
New America's Got Talent, tonight on 7.
When the road calls, here's the very best way to answer. The BMW X3 S-Drive 20i from $69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
After supporting generations with tried and trusted pain relief, we're stretching beyond the medicine cabinet. At Panadol, we're making it our mission to help more Australians focus on staying well. Together, let's rethink care.
You're relying on our network more, so we're accelerating the rollout of Telstra 5G, giving more people and businesses access to fast download speeds in more places than ever.
What am I looking forward to? Well, I just really want what I have today.
The more life changes, the more you know what's important. MLC.
Hi, thanks for calling HIF. You're speaking to HIF. What does HIF stand for? Great Value Health Cover. Oh, you mean the letters. The Health Insurance Fund of Australia. Yeah, we've been around for over 65 years. And that's human years, not dog years. Never mind. Now, can I fetch you a quote?
Surely all plastics go in the recycling bin.
Hard plastic containers and bottles are a yes, but soft plastics are a no.
Know your recycling, because what you do makes a difference. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of dinner with everyone's favourite Coles chicken drumsticks. Down to just $4 a kilo for a large pack. And to find delicious chicken recipes, visit coles.com.au. Coles, good things, great value.
Just tell us what you want.
No more confusing offers.
Okay.
Just low prices.
Okay.
And energy with a clean conscience.
It's okay. Sure. Not a problem.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Take charge and switch to Tango Energy today.
This Sport Report brought to you by Tab. Long may we play.
Welcome back. Hawthorn's chances of toppling the Premiers have received a huge boost tonight with Dustin Martin ruled out. Returning to Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens. And Steve-O, it's a massive blow for the Tigers.
Tim, a huge out for the Tigers. Only Dusty's fourth game missed since 2012. He has bruised ribs. This vision back on June 4, perhaps a pointer to what was coming. In discomfort clearly on the track. He played against the Pies, but certainly was a little bit subdued. The Tigers adamant he was okay for that game in round 2, but he's out now. They're hopeful he'll be back for round 4, but no guarantees. They won't take any risks with Dusty, so it's a concern. The Tigers, of course, have had a great run with injury. Damien Hardwick, the coach, he spoke earlier about the midfield contested battle that has now just got a little bit tougher.
You know, Hawthorn were disappointing in that aspect last week, as Clarko said. So we expect them to bring a strong, steely resolve to that part of the game this week. And to be honest, it's an area of our game that we thought we could have been a little bit better at.
Now, this was brutally honest and a real shock. Mark Rasciuto, Crows board member, has explained the exits of several Crows, his summation of Jake Lever now at Melbourne and Mitch McGovern now at Carlton, particularly cutting. Rasciuto even revealing pay packets and questioning their worth. Take a listen.
Jake Lever got a 5-year deal on $800,000 to $850,000. Very comfortable that we let him go on that money. He's probably a $500,000 player. Mitch McGovern, 800 and something thousand. Has he delivered for Carlton yet? No. Comfortable that he went.
Now the AFL still on track for a fixture announcement either Monday or Tuesday. A few more rounds coming, Tim.
Thanks, Steve-O. Jeff Kennett has doubled down on his bombshell relegation plan. Tom Brown has tonight's developments, and Tom, you've just spoken with the Hawks president.
Tim, Jeff Kennett last Friday told Hawks members in the build-up to their Geelong game that clubs should be relegated to the VFL if they don't meet KPIs in the future. So I sat down with Kennett this afternoon to work through what exactly he means. Now, most thought it was a shot at clubs like the Gold Coast. Their chairman, Tony Cochrane, fired back at Kennett yesterday. But Kennett's talking about the AFL and all clubs, even his own Hawthorn, calling on to sit down, agree on specific targets and review them in 2.5 to 3 years. They can't expect pre-COVID AFL support if they don't meet them, according to Kennett.
So every club must improve its financial percentage of its value by 10 or 15%. It's not saying they should improve it by 100%, but there's got to be a marked improvement. No, it applies to Hawthorn, Collingwood, Geelong, West Coast, as much as any other club. We all have to do better.
Kennett wouldn't put a specific percentage on proposed player pay cuts next year, but warned footy would be in a desperate situation if, for example, there was a second COVID spike. It also described the latest media deal security as short-term lifeline, and he was not going to the footy, Tim, until his own members can.
It disappoints me that the fans can go back in other states, but not here in Victoria. We just seem to be slipping behind every other bloody state. And I think that's sad. We should open up the MCG to 30,000. We should open up the Geelong Stadium.
Controversial targets, those financial KPIs, Tim, but he's calling on all clubs to improve in the current climate.
Thanks, Tom. The winless Bulldogs say they'll be ready for roughhouse tactics if the Giants again target Marcus Bontempelli in Friday night's elimination final rematch. And Luke Beveridge is defending his decisions at the selection table.
Last on the ladder, the critics are coming for the Bulldogs.
You guys are selecting the team for me, are you? Look, I know there's conjecture about selection, but you've got to understand the time in between round one and round two, there's a lot that's happened.
Tom Liberatore and Toby McLean are set to return for Friday night's grudge match. The Dogs will attack the ball, but if the Giants once again target Marcus Bontempelli, they'll bite back.
Whether they come with the same attitude or intent or not, we'll be prepared with whatever comes our way.
Coming off a 10-goal hiding to the Cats, Hawthorn's midfielders are in the gun as they prepare to face the reigning premiers off a 6-day break.
If we're not strong in that space, then we're in for a pretty horrid night.
The Hawks' tall backline leaked 17 goals last week as the Geelong small forwards ran riot. He admits it's a big risk against the Tigers, but Clarkson will persist with 2-metre-tall dual premiership ruckman Ben McAvoy in defence.
But I think any defence in the competition, if the supply through the middle of the ground is heavy, every defence in the competition is going to struggle. Tall or small, fat or skinny, it's not going to matter.
At the Cats, a growling dog caused the scene.
Tips the balance in towards... Have you got that lead?
And they're going to need a leash to hold 36-year-old Gary Ablett back, despite the shortened season and shortened quarters.
I still am of the view that he shouldn't play all 17 games in the home and away season. I'm happy to say last year, if I had my time over again, we would have taken him out before we did.
Jack Stephen won't play. He'll line up in a 16-a-side scratch match against the Blues. Sean Sowerby, 7 News.
The upheaval at Cricket Australia continues tonight with 40 staff members made redundant. The forced resignation of Chief Executive Kevin Roberts was the start of a cost-cutting drive to save $40 million. In addition to the job cuts, several representative teams have been paused for 12 months.
Things like the Australian A teams, the CA11 and some junior representative teams. And I really want to apologise to those people.
All major domestic competitions, including the men's and women's Big Bash, will run in full. The 2020 US Open will go ahead in New York behind closed doors from August 31, despite the global health crisis.
It will be held without fans, but we can watch it on TV, and I'll take that.
Nick Kyrgios, Ash Barty, Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal have all expressed safety concerns. And Mitch, don't forget the front bar from 9:15 tonight. Special guest, former Fitzroy player Mickey Conlon.
Looking forward to it as always. Thank you, Tim. Melina is next with the forecast. And Melina, there's sunshine on the way.
But Mitch, we'll have to get through a chilly and frosty morning first. I'll have all the details next.
Hello. Tonight on the latest from 7 News, our new COVID cases putting our New Zealand travel bubble in jeopardy. The Great British bailout. Will a UK deal save us from economic turmoil? Tourism and Trade Minister Simon Birmingham joins me. And holiday prohibition. The Australian travel companies banning alcohol. Those stories and every breaking development. The latest from 7 News right after the front part.
What are your thoughts on Australian rules football? Do you love it?
No. It's always good to hear from the Gold Coast CEO, Tony Cochran.
The Front Bar, tonight on 7.
Is that yours?
Happy birthday.
Actually?
Get your kids their first phone at Optus. Visit us in-store today.
Boys, have you built your six-pack yet?
A six-pack?
You can load it up with any 6 players to kick the first goal. You got it? Okay, yeah.
With the six-pack, you can take the AFL to the Neds level.
At Coles, save on delicious Greek yogurt, like the Chobani range. It's high in protein and full of flavour. And now, Chobani 170-gram pots are just $1 each. Find more weekly specials in our digital catalogue. Coles, good things, great value.
Make your home beautiful with furniture from Harvey Norman. We have a huge range of quality choices and exclusive designs. Fabric and leather lounges, flexible family-friendly modulars, manual or powered recliners, sofas with the latest smart tech built in, dining suites to complement a classic or bold contemporary look, plus the very best of Australian-made lounge and dining furniture, customizable to suit your style. Shop smart, shop safe in our spacious stores and take advantage of 60 months interest-free. Available now at Harvey Norman, your furniture specialist.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this AFL Season 1 to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at halftime and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
With AGL, get up to $100 to spend with prepaid MasterCard. That's $50 for electricity and $50 for gas. Just for signing up your home energy with AGL online. Only available at agl.com.au.
Customers in Victoria told us that they saved, on average, $229 when they switched their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So why not get a Budget Direct quote today?
The MS Dream Home Lottery closes midnight tonight. So close. There's just hours left for your chance to be one of 2 grand prize winners. Get your tickets now.
Shut up and take my money.
Nothing like a party in the summertime. Nothing like seeing you, baby, looking so fine. Ooh, nothing like a party. Boys, have you built your six-pack yet?
A six-pack?
You can load it up with any 6 players to kick the first goal. You got it? Okay, yeah.
With the six-pack, you can take the AFL to the Neds level.
The power's in your hands and at your feet. The BMW 320i sedan from 69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
I used to think that my parents had an epic love story.
Don't know if the marriage can be saved.
I felt like he gave up on us. It's over.
Just look me in the eye, tell me that you don't love me, and I'll walk away.
Home and Away, weeknights on 7.
This weather report brought to you by the BMW 3 Series.
Hello again. It's been partly cloudy out there, but tomorrow will bring plenty of sunshine. After another mild night, dropping to 10 degrees, we only got to 14 in the city this afternoon. Outside now in the city, we have already dropped to last night's low of 10 degrees, on our way to a minimum of 5. It'll be a chilly night around the suburbs as well. Outside now, it is just 9 in Geelong, 6 at Yarra Glen and Mount Dandenong, 7 there at Hastings. Morning fog patches cleared to a partly cloudy day with just light winds. Our top temperatures were generally a few degrees above average, 17 in Mildura, 14 at Bendigo, 15 at Wodonga. The only exception was East Gippsland. Taking a look at the satellite, a high-pressure system which is centred over Victoria will drift off to the Tasman Sea tomorrow as a cold front moves over from the west. This front will enter Western Victoria late on Friday, crossing the rest of the state on Saturday. So after some fog and and frost tomorrow morning. The northern half of the state will be partly cloudy, but it'll be mostly sunny over the south. Hardly any cloud activity there. Friday starts dry and partly cloudy, but rain moves in from the west late in the afternoon, moving across our central districts during the evening. Around the nation for tomorrow, a shower or two in Brisbane, 23 degrees, 18 and partly cloudy in Sydney. Adelaide is sunny and 19 degrees, and showers in Perth, 18 there. In Victoria, we'll have a frosty start. A frost warning has been issued. It'll be most severe over West and South Gippsland. We'll see some fog with that frost as well tomorrow morning, and some pretty chilly temperatures. 1 degree at Wangaratta, 2 at Bendigo and Ballarat. Then it'll be a mostly sunny day in the south, partly cloudy over the north. A top of 19 in Mildura, 15 in Bendigo, 16 in Traralgon after a low of 0. Closer in, we'll have areas of fog and frost over the suburbs early tomorrow, but that will clear out for a mostly sunny day. Light winds will turn north to northeasterly up to 30 k's an hour in the morning. 17 degrees in Geelong and Avalon, 16 in Watsonia and Frankston, and it'll be frosty in the city tomorrow morning, just 5 degrees, but we will thaw out with plenty of sunshine and a top of 16 degrees. We begin the day partly cloudy on Friday, a top of 17, then showers move in at night. Saturday is our wettest day. We could see showers right throughout the day, a top of 16. A shower or two on Sunday, just 13 degrees. Showers increasing on Monday, 13 again, and more showers on Tuesday. We'll have to wait until Wednesday to dry out, partly cloudy and 15, but a chilly morning, then a sunny top of 16, Mitch.
That sounds pretty good to me. Thank you, Melina. Just before we go, forget singing for your supper. This Sumatran tiger must dive for her dinner at the zoo. A zip line has been installed high above Indra's habitat, giving her the opportunity to jump for treats. It's designed to help her stay active and make mealtime more like playtime. And that's the way it is this Wednesday, the 17th of June. Thanks for your company. We'll have updates later. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.
Closer each day.